The first test we'll be presenting is the 4-step square test. This test measures dynamic balance in 4 directions. Common populations that you will see this test performed on are older adults or geriatrics, which you will see in our next video. Also stroke patients, vestibular disorders, patients with Parkinson's disease, and patients with limb loss or amputation. Cutoff scores for this test are greater than 15 seconds, and if they score greater than 15 seconds, that means they are at risk for multiple falls. The only materials you will need for this test are 4 canes and a stopwatch.
Hi, Keely. I'm Ben Nag, he's a physical therapist. This is Marshall, he's also a therapist. He's going to be helping out with the test today. And today we're going to be doing the 4 square step test. And basically it's just going to be testing your dynamic balance. Okay. So you sit right there and I'll demonstrate first to show you. Okay. Alright, so we'll start in this square. We're going to take 1 step forward, both feet, and then next we're going to go to the right. Then we're going to step back, step to the left. So here you'll be in the starting position. And from here, we're just going to reverse the order, okay? So we're going to step right, step forward, step left, and a step back to the starting position, okay? That good? Alright. So we're going to stand up and we're going to do 1 practice run for you. And then after you kind of get it, we're going to do 2 actual runs for all time. Okay? Alright, so start when you're ready. Okay, I'll reverse the order. Okay, alright, good. So now we'll do 2 actual runs. So when you're doing it, you want to do it as fast as possible, but under control. Okay. Alright, you ready? Okay, hold on just a second. So when you get back to this spot, you're going to reverse the order. Okay, so we're going to start over on this one. Alright, so let's take a step back to that start position. Yeah, so once you get back here, we're going to reverse the order. Okay, alright, go ahead. Alright, good. Alright, so take a minute just to rest, and then we're going to go again for round 2. Okay. Okay, good.
The test must be repeated if the patient steps out of order, as seen in the previous video, or if the patient loses their balance or makes contact with any of the canes during the test.
Alright, Keely, so just looking at your time, your scores, between the 2 tests, I took the best time, which was a little over 8 seconds, which is good because you want to be under 15 seconds. Because if it took you longer than 15 seconds, you'd be at risk for multiple falls. So it's good that you're under. So for the future, we'll probably implement some balance exercises and things like that, just to help you maintain your condition. And then later in the future, we can also use the test again, retest, and just keep track of your progress that way. Okay. Okay. Have any questions for me? Anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
The next test we will talk about is the DASH test. The DASH test is a 30-item self-report questionnaire that is designed to assess upper extremity musculoskeletal disorders. Populations that the DASH test is used for are patients with upper extremity disorders, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, joint pain or fractures, or patients with multiple sclerosis. The scoring of the DASH test is each question can be answered with a response of 1 to 5. The minimum score that can be attained is 0, which means the patient has no problems with the activities asked about, or it can have a max score of 100, meaning the patient is unable to do any of the activities listed.
Travis, I'm Marshall Scruggs. I'll be your student physical therapist today. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. After talking to the other physical therapists and reviewing your chart, it looks like you're having some trouble with your rheumatoid arthritis. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do our best to see if we can correct that for you. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of base understanding of what kind of problems you're having. I'm gonna give you this test called the DASH test.
Okay.
It is otherwise known as the Disabilities of the Arm, Shoulder, and Hand test. So what we're going to do is I'm going to sit here with you. We're going to go through it and answer each of these questions. There's 30 questions, and I'm going to ask you on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being you have difficulty doing this task, 2 being you have mild difficulty doing the task, 3 you have moderate difficulty doing the task, 4 you have severe difficulty doing the task, or 5 you cannot do a task whatsoever. Completely unable. Okay, so we're going to go through these questions and you'll answer as you see fitting. If you have any questions throughout the way, feel free to stop and ask me to explain something. Okay. If you have not done any of these activities in the last week, you just try to think about if you were to do them, what your level would be. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with number 1. So if you can find number 1 on your paper. Okay. So the first activity would be opening a tight or new jar. So if you're opening like a jar of mayonnaise or something like that that has not been opened, what do you think?
It's pretty tough, I'd say. About a 4 on the
4?
scale.
So you have a severe difficulty doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. What about writing?
Writing's a pretty tough one too. I wouldn't say as bad as opening a jar, so it's about 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay. And then next one we'll talk about is turning a key. So if you go up to your door, when you're unlocking your door at home, you turn the key. How hard is that for you?
It's almost the same as writing, so about 3 again.
3. What about preparing a meal?
It's not as bad. I mean, I can make it work. So I'd say 2.
2. All right. What about pushing and open a heavy door?
I don't have any problems with that.
No problems. All right. So what about number 6 would be placing an object on a shelf above your head. So say for example, putting, like if you have high cabinets, putting plates or some kind of object above your head in the cabinets.
I'd say about 2 out of 5.
Number 7, doing heavy household chores. Example, washing walls, washing floors, mopping.
About the same as the shelf above my head one. A 2.
2, and all difficult. Gardening or doing yard work. Okay, what about when you have to wash or blow dry your hair?
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. So you say
A 1, sorry.
a 1. Okay. All right. So number 14, do you have any difficulty washing your back?
No, it's about a 1 as well.
1. All right. 15, putting on a pullover sweater.
Doesn't bother me. Another 1.
Okay. What about using a knife to cut up food?
A little trouble doing that, about 2.
No trouble. 2. Okay, the 21 is going to be a little difficult to answer. How does it affect your sexual activities?
I don't really feel comfortable discussing that.
Okay, we don't have to answer that one. All right, we'll turn over to the next page. Okay, during the past week, to what extent has your arm, shoulder, or hand problem interfered with your normal social activities with family, friends, neighbors, or groups?
I would say 2.
2.
Out of 5.
Okay, these next few questions are just about some symptoms you're having. Number 24, it asks if you have any arm, shoulder, or hand pain, and I want 1, you'd answer would be none. If you answer 2, you would have mild pain. 3 would be moderate pain. 4, severe pain, and 5 would be extreme pain.
For the hand pain, I'd say about a 2, mild.
2, mild. Okay, and using that same scale, none to extreme, 1 to 5, we'll answer these next few questions. So arm, shoulder, or hand pain when you perform a specific activity.
So 3 for that one.
3. What about any tingling in your arm or shoulder? Like feel like a little ants are crawling on you, anything like that?
None.
None.
So 1.
Do you have any weakness in your arm? You notice you feel weak, like hard to pick something up?
It's hard. It's difficult sometimes to pick stuff up in my hand. Let's say about a 3.
About a 3. So you have some moderate weakness. And then stiffness in your arm, shoulder, or hand.
That's pretty stiff all the time. I'd say almost severe 4.
Severe, so lots of stiffness. Okay. All right, we got a few more questions left. All right, number 29. During the past week, how much difficulty have you had sleeping because of the pain in your arm, shoulder, or hand?
I'd say about a 2 out of 5.
So some mild difficulty sleeping. Okay, last question, number 30. I feel less capable, less confident, or less useful because of my arm, shoulder, or hand problem.
I agree. So a 4 for that one.
You agree with that? So a 4. Okay. All right. Well, I got these questions answered. Do you have any other questions you'd like to ask me about this test we just took?
I think I'm good. What about that? Do you need me to answer that question about the sexual activities?
No. I can score without that one. You can not answer up to 3. So I can get an accurate score on that. So that's okay.
Okay.
We can skip that one.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna go score this real quick, and I'll get back with you, and we'll see how we can help you from here. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Travis, I went back and scored your dash test we just talked about. How this test is scored is 0 to 100. If you received a 0 score, it means you had no difficulty with any of the tasks I asked you about. If you scored a 100, it means you were unable to do all the tasks I asked you about. Okay, you scored a 27.5, which means you did have some difficulty with some of the tasks. But with rheumatoid arthritis, that's probably to be expected a little bit. And the average population with rheumatoid arthritis scored a 44.5 out of 100. So you're actually doing pretty good with your condition. We do want to address some of those issues. So we're going to look at some activities you had trouble with, which were opening the jars and some of your recreational activities. We'll do our best to address those because ideally we do want to decrease this number, and we would like to get you down to a 0, but we're going to do our best to get you as low as possible, okay?
Thank you.
Here are the calculations that were performed to give us the final score of the dash. To get the score, you take the sum of the responses, divide it by the number of questions answered, and subtract 1. Then multiply all that by 25. The sum of the patient's responses was 61. That number was then divided by the number of questions the patient answered, which was 29. Then the number 1 was subtracted, then multiplied by 25. That gave us a total score of 27.59.